The disaster in Japan is bringing with it heartbreaking stories and images into our homes. They are pictures that many people can't turn away from, but parents are increasingly concerned about the impact of these images on their children. And many of us don't know the best way to talk about this with our children. So joining us this morning to help us out, psychologist and early show contributor Dr. Jennifer Hartstein. Good to have you with us.
Good morning.
This really, I will say this hits home for me. I have a 4-year-old and he keeps saying to me, not upset, but keeps saying, Mommy, the waves can't come to New York City.
Right.
They can't come to New York City.
Right, and they really don't understand, especially at 4, what that means. They don't understand that it's already happened and it's not happening again. So there does need to be some ways to talk to them.
And so what is the best way then to have this discussion with your child, no matter what age they are?
Well, first you want to provide accurate information. You don't want to say everything's fabulous, nothing's ever going to happen to you, because you can't back that up. So you want to be careful. You want to wait for their questions. So he's asking you a very specific question and you can answer that question. You don't have to get into all of the details of other things. And you want to have the conversation over and over again. You're probably going to have to repeat it many times.
You mentioned when you share the information, be accurate, keep it kind of simple. So just how much detail should I go into?
Well, with Weston, you want to really be careful of how much. He's 4. He can't process the same amount of information as a 15-year-old. So you want to keep it as simple as possible, answer those direct questions, provide reassurance, and listen to him and what he's saying to you so that you can really get to the heart of the problem. Is he really just reflecting some worry? And you want to address that.
So we know we're addressing exactly what concerns them. This has been a really large topic of conversation on our Facebook page. A lot of people posting questions on this. So I want to get some of those answered for the folks at home. Trina writes, I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. Should I let them watch tsunami news coverage on TV?
Well, we want to also remember that media includes TV and the internet. We have to remember that they can access these all over the place. So you want to watch it with them. You don't want it to be unbridled and unsupervised. You really want to watch it with them, answer their questions as they have them, be involved, be part of the discussion instead of letting them just watch it and not know what to do.
And you can obviously monitor what they see if you're controlling what's on the television.
Absolutely.
But you mentioned the internet. How much of that should you be monitoring so that you know what they're seeing there?
I think you should monitor, especially for 6 and 9, you should monitor it as much as possible. For teenagers, they're going to have a better ability to process the information. You may not have to monitor as much, but for your younger kids, just as you would with anything else, monitor this too.
Melody writes in, how do you comfort them, calm their fears when there's a thunderstorm? Let them know they'll be okay.
Right, it's so hard. Validate those feelings, validate their worry. You're worried as a parent, validate it for them. Continue your routines, try and keep things going as much as possible, and be aware of your own stress as a parent, because that's going to impact your kids. So if you're feeling nervous and stressed, they're going to pick up on it. Find outlets for yourself.
So should we not talk about certain things then in front of our kids if we are concerned, say about what's happening in Japan?
Well, with the radiation, you might want to have a conversation about that. Your kids are not going to understand what that means. So you might want to have that conversation in adult time, not in front of your children. If they pick up on it, discuss it with them openly.
And how important is that physical contact when you're comforting your kids? I mean, a hug seems like it can go a long way.
Absolutely. Physical contact can take you very far. So if they need that, offer it to them. If you're not sure, ask if they want the hug, but really be there, be present, be involved.
Alan writes in, he's very honest with his kids, but is it a good idea to not hold anything back?
Well, you want to really filter your information. As we mentioned, with younger kids, too much information is just too much. So you want to avoid giving too much of an excess amount. And you want to be honest, but not overshare your feelings or that stuff. It's going to freak them out. You don't want to do that. But with your teenagers, sure, have that conversation. Talk about it. Talk about how they may be able to get involved and help. Even with your younger kids, how can they be philanthropic? How can they provide some stuff to these kids in Japan that they see?
And it helps, too, to really have some illustration. I mean, does it help to, I would guess, pull out a map and show them, here's Japan, here's where we live in the United States.
Absolutely. Use it as a moment to educate. Teach them geography. Teach them what a tsunami is. Teach them about earthquakes. There's opportunities to teach them the basics.
And really quickly, if we are concerned that this is taking a toll on them, how do you handle that?
If it's really excessive and they're really so clingy, can't follow those routines, do that stuff, talk to a pediatrician, see if there's a bigger problem. Give it 2 weeks, 3 weeks to settle down. If it doesn't, then ask for some help.
Okay. Jen Hartstein, as always, great advice. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thanks, Eric.